Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm happy to have with me tonight Gloria Badmos from Ask Foundations. Gloria has been one of the very active, youth development leaders in the community here in Baltimore City, working very passionately with young adults and children. She's doing amazing work here in the city, and I'll turn it over to her to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Gloria Badmos. I am the founder of Ask, Seek, Knock Foundations. Ask is for the community as a whole. Seek is for the youth, and Knock for the barriers that we are breaking down um and what we will be building up to serve the community as a whole.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. So maybe we start with a quick introduction about your organization. So if you want to tell us what the ASK first stands for and what it means, and then we can move over to other two things.
Okay, so as you know, ASK just overall covers the entire organization. So with Ask, it is our small beginnings and how we started and how we start, and we want to serve the community in a way that is holistic, that looks at people as humans and not um, that's not discriminatory and that is all inclusive. So Ask started as a passion of mine um, during a time where I looked around and saw a lot of people experiencing homelessness and out in the community, just in the cold, just begging for help. And I always wanted to do something about that. Partly because I also have been a youth that experienced homelessness while I was a teen mom. And so the little that I knew how to do, me and my son would figure out a way to just give back in the ways that we know how to. So that means like putting sandwiches together and going out in the community and distributing it, and met ordering more than we needed so that we can give whatever is left over to people that are in need. And so it was just something that we did as much as we could. And then um, it turned into what is now Ask, Seek, Not Foundation. And just like the Bible verse, Matthew 7:7 says, ask and you shall receive, seek you shall find, and knock and the door shall be opened unto you. So that is our concept, and that is our idea of what community is like, and why we started Ask.
Wow, that's very inspiring. And you touch on a few very important topics. One is identity, as you say, to be treated as who we are, not just numbers. Unfortunately, society today deals with a lot of things as numbers, including human beings. So it's really important to reinforce that idea or concept of identity, who we are, what we stand for, and being unapologetic for it. Sometimes many groups try to blend in and be apologetic for what they stand up for. So that's really important. And then you touched on homelessness, which is actually a very serious problem for many, especially young people. I know in Baltimore City, I think at a point in time, there's about 600 homeless youth on any given night. And I think the total per year is in the 6,000 range. I can't remember exactly, but I know it is a serious issue. What are you guys doing when it comes to homelessness? And you mentioned that you experienced it yourself. So maybe just some tips, and then first of all, let's hear what you guys are doing about homelessness, and how big is that issue that you see in the city?
I see homelessness as a huge issue in the city, and one that one person or one organization or one entity cannot fix on its own. I know that there are different organizations that do serve people experiencing homelessness, and without them only we're just grateful that we have them serving the community. Um, we ourselves are starting with the people that find us, the people that we see in the community. We have to use what we have, and not say, oh, we don't have the resources yet. We're in the midst of finding the resources to support people in the way that we know that they deserve to be supported. But currently, our contribution comes from our care drives, where we gather whatever snacks, hygiene products, and things like that that we can find. Um, and we put it together, and we try monthly to go out in the community in Baltimore City, where we know that there are many people experiencing homelessness. By Paul, uh, St. Vincent de Paul Church. So we go there and we distribute care packages with hygiene products and snacks and quick meals that we know that will take them into the next day or the next week, based on whatever their resources that they're able to find as well. We also have the youth come up with resources. When we meet with the youth in the summer, they come together and provide resources and make resource books that we can share resources with the people once we meet them. If they're willing to talk to us more about what they're going through, we have resources that can point them in the right direction of those that actually have the means to help them in a better or in a more holistic way than we can at the time. So that's what we're doing currently. We're also helping those, our neighbors, right? We all know people that go through hard times, and we try to have a way that we can point them to in the direction of, hey, maybe it's a day or two that they need to find somewhere to stay. Maybe it's a few months. We'll try to have those resources open to those that we know are in need of help. Um, so that's what we're doing currently. Of course, there's bigger goals and dreams to accomplish, because our little bit of resources is not reaching those that need it. Need It's not changing their lives in the way that they need it. Housing is the first priority, and we recognize that housing is a first priority. And without housing available to people that are experiencing homelessness, it's going to be very difficult for them to focus on other things in their lives, their basic needs, and also to be able to acquire the things that they need to, like employment and so on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of people don't realize homelessness is a multiple tentacle problem.
Mm.
So when we mention homelessness, a lot of people think about how cold or hot it is outside, and the elements, etc. But it goes beyond that. It's just the ability to live your normal life. Study, go to school, do your homework, do your laundry, the things that we all get used to every day and just take for granted. So definitely, especially for young people, we've also come across so many single moms with children who are homeless, and again, the same problem. You got an infant, you need to change their diaper or breastfeed them or whatever the care that you need to provide your children, or just drop them off at school. And if you're homeless, sometimes it's hard even to get them into a school. So there's a lot of different issues. The first time we dealt with homelessness was, I think, in 2010, right after we started by a year, and we had no resources at all. So what we used to do is host people in volunteer family homes, but that comes with another set of challenges. You have to train those families on how to deal with, especially teenagers, someone who just dropped on you, 16-year-old or 15-year-old. And also, they can't stay for too long. Sometimes there's transportation issues, access. These young people might need to go to school, and the hosting family is pretty far from that location. So there's another set of challenges, but it helps. It helped at the time address at least the roof over the head, making sure the young person is safe and accessible. Because another issue with homelessness is usually the homeless person doesn't have a phone plan, or their phones run out of battery. It's really hard to get hold of them. So over the years, we realized that in order to provide, leadership development to young people, they have to have the basic needs of life, and that morphed and evolved into our wellness and stabilization program, which includes the crisis line, the door, and the scholarship program, and so forth. And over the years, we've started the dorm, which is next door here, a couple of beds. It helped. Of course, you'll be surprised at how many actually beds are available in the city for young people. It's not that many. I think it's like 3 dozen. It's not many at all. There's like 3, 4 organizations, and I think the biggest has 2 dozen beds. So 2 beds is small, but it's something in a small,
Yes, it makes a difference. That those are 2 lives that you're impacting at any given moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us more about the knock. So you said the K's for knock. So what does knock mean? And can you give us examples?
Okay, so knock is for the barriers we're breaking down. And knock is about resources that are readily available, but are not people may not know about them, or may not necessarily have the full resources on how to get them. So knock it comes from my experience as a SOAR specialist. I help people who are experiencing homelessness to get benefits, who also have disabilities to get benefits with Social Security. So as a SOAR specialist, it's a volunteer position currently where I can sit with someone who is disabled, who know that they're not able to work again due to their disability, and also have like you said, homelessness has many layers to it. If they can show that they've experienced homelessness in the last 2 years, or some aspect of homelessness in the last 2 years, which could be couch surfing, staying with a family member, or so on, or just not having stable houses, evictions over the past few years, or so. I can sit with them and talk about different what they've experienced over the years, and find a way to put that into a document to Social Security to paint a full picture of that person's life and the reason why they need the benefits that they need. And through that, their application, their SSI, SSDI application is more likely to touch the examiner to see their full picture of their life, and lead to an approval. It's not a guarantee, because there is a listing that they have to meet, and that is proven through treatment they've received over the years as well, and how they've shown that they've tried to work and it hasn't worked out, and or their illnesses affect them so badly that they won't be able to work. So that's part of knock, is getting people benefits that they need, pointing them in the direction of benefits that they need. Of course, knock will grow into building schools, building communities, building shelters, and so on, so that we can support people, building housing. I don't want to say shelter, because shelters are like temporary, a place where people don't want to stay long, but we want to build communities. So that's the goal for knock. That's the goal. We want to be a safe place that people can start to thrive as a community.
That's awesome. And what you actually provide is so important. I can think of a number of families right now who don't know where to start. They have a young person who has some illness or, like you mentioned, a disability, and they just don't know how to start. And quite often they lose out on benefits, and the family is burdened, and the young person's not getting the support. So, if I understood correctly, you work with families to kind of help them navigate the system and okay, that's awesome. And yeah, that's exactly what I see a lot of people needing, not knowing where to start. So, from your experience, when it comes to parents, what advice would you give parents who have a homeless young person? So, what I've seen, and I'm sure you have similar, maybe more different experiences. It could be a young person who just doesn't get very well along with his parents or her parents, and they just decide to leave the home for a little bit, usually a few nights, and they come back. But like you mentioned earlier, they might be doing couch surfing for extended periods of time. I've seen young people who high schooler age, they would live in the woods. It was summertime usually, but in the woods for weeks, and they wouldn't want to go home um, for various reasons. But if a parent is in that situation, their child walked out, um, maybe they can be in touch with them, maybe not. What advice do you have for the parent at that point? What's the first thing they should do?
Um, I would say pray. I know that's
important.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, start with that. But letting your child know, I know there are many obstacles, many things that can cause youth homelessness. Um, I would say finding some services in the community that do address homeless youth. Um, our resource book that the youth were able to gather, we gathered a few resources in Baltimore City that support homeless youth, but also letting your children know that they are supported. Um, they may not be always comfortable with their parents at the time, due to children want to learn from their own experiences. But when they know that they can lean back on you, they can come back home. Um, that makes it a little easier to navigate life and say that, okay, I know that my parents do want me to come home. Yeah, I know you may have to lay down your boundaries and tell them, hey, these are what needs to happen or what needs to change. But I always want you to know that you have a home here. Um, if you can improve on XYZ, you will be just fine. And also, um, there are counseling support that are covered by Medicaid. Um, so just ensuring that they have access to those therapy, counseling, and stuff like that. Um, they may not take advantage of it early on, but as time goes on, they will realize that they need the help and they need someone to lean on. And even if they don't want to lean on their parents, they'll know that they can check out different resources. So it's important to be patient with the youth, patient with teenagers, and just letting them know that they are loved and they are wanted, because they deal with so many battles that we don't understand or we don't know at the time. And sometimes they want to grow up so fast that they don't realize the responsibilities that come with growing up so fast. So it's important to be very patient with them, but also showing them the support that, hey, you can make those decisions with your life, but if you need me, I'm here. Um, Showing them that there are better ways, better opportunities for them.
Yeah. No, patience absolutely is so important. a lot of these issues start because of miscommunication. Uh, Parents dealing with their children as if they're adults like them and taking things very personal, not recognizing that they're going not only through challenges and things we don't understand, but also a phase in their life where growth is very fast and hormonal changes, all kinds of things. And we kind of forget how we were when we were teenagers, you know. But I think that's very important communication skills between the parents. One approach or technique that we always advise parents to use is the I message. The I message is rather than saying your room is messy, you could say, I feel a bit uncomfortable when I see the room like this. So you take the you and your out of the equation and you turn it to yourself, I, and your feelings, and no one can really dispute anyone's feelings. It's how we feel. So they become less defensive, and many kids actually have empathy for their parents, even though it might not show and they seem to be rebellious, but they really do feel and care about their parents' feelings and so forth. So I feel using the iMessage can help diffuse a lot of these tense moments. And it also teaches at a younger age. So this is with teenagers, but at a younger age, even if you use the iMessage, it teaches the young person to start thinking critically and not be very self-centric, but more, looking at who's around him or her and their rights and obligations and things like that. So patience in the Quran, it talks about patience all over as an ingredient for success in this life and the hereafter. Um, we have two very well-known verses. One, very small chapter, it's one line. God, Allah swears by time. He says, all mankind is in a state of loss, except those who believe and do good deeds based on justice and patience. Because everything in this life requires some effort. And if we're not patient, we won't be able to get through that effort. And another beautiful verse, the last verse of the third chapter, it says, "O you who believe, be patient, persevering, and steadfast, and God conscious, so you can succeed." So that's another great formula for success for anyone, and parents included. Patience is to kind of bear the annoyance of something. Your child is maybe running loud music in their room, or their room is a bit messy. It's not causing physical or emotional harm. It's just annoying you. So that's patience. Perseverance is now you're enduring some harm. So maybe your child is talking back to you and it's affecting you emotionally. And steadfast is like, okay, the ship is about to sink and the hurricane is going to top it off, and you're still holding to the post. So I think, you brought up two really good points, the patience part, and that communication aspect as well. What other tips would you have for parents? In today's age, it seems that privacy has become a strange thing in the world. From social media to cameras all over the place, your facial recognition, wherever you go, you're putting some data about yourself. So our children are definitely, even though they might be physically in our homes, but they're connected to so many other things outside. From your experience, what advice would you have for parents when it comes to, first of all, using devices like mobile smartphones or computers at different ages of their life? And secondly, just social interaction online.
I say that be very careful with YouTube and your little ones. I know there's YouTube Kids and so on, but there's been experiences of children clicking and clicking and clicking and ending up in sites that children do not belong. So be very observant, watching what they're doing. The parental blocks, making sure that they're up, but also still paying attention to what they're watching and correcting it as soon as you see that it might be taking them into somewhere that they're not supposed to be. So that's what I would say for the little ones. As they get older, they want to have more of their own. Oh, I want a social media. I want this. I want that. Talking to your kids about the dangers of social media, talking to them, letting them know that one, it's full of strangers, people you don't know. Some of them are not who they portray themselves to be. So be very, very careful. And then in today's AI world, um, they're taking on shapes and forms that are not taking your information, might be taking your picture and creating pages. So you need to understand that it's a risk just being on social media in general. It's a risk for everyone. But letting youth understand that um, they should be really careful on there and to portray themselves how they want to be viewed. Um, Time and time again, I have to talk to my son about the things that he's posting. Is that how you want the world to perceive you? These things follow you, not just as a kid, but as you get into college. Colleges do look at your social media. Jobs do look at your social media. You might think that they don't, but they do. And people in general will look at your social media and make an assumption about who you are as a person. So you should always try to align yourself, your social media self, with who you are, who you want to be perceived as, and not just I'm having fun, so I just like this song, but the song has so many cuss words and bad things in it. That's the first thing they're gonna think, that you're posting that song to show that that's what you like and that's who you are. So I like to just talk to teens about portraying themselves how they want the world to see them and being mindful of that, and that it has consequences when you don't portray yourself the way that you want the world to see you. So just be willing to accept what comes with it. Like I said, teenagers, youth, they love to learn by their own experiences. So it's sometimes you have to we just have to tell them uh what we know, share our experiences with them, and let them um take it how they can. And as they get older, it'll they'll understand the purpose of that story at some point in their life.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it needs education. There is a book out there called The Anxious Generation, where the author argues that young people should not get a smart device before the age of 16. And his take on it is, very similar to what you shared. And he adds about how it affects identity building. A lot of young people, they just get so consumed by the social media content that um, they can't think for themselves. They just want to be like this best, picture, this exciting thing, this video, whatever, and they can't build their own identity. So that there's that school of thought that keep the devices away until they're mature. Then there's another school of thought that says no, give it to them once they're 7 or 8 and let them learn. And I think it's a middle ground. I don't think taking devices away is reasonable or practical, because even in middle school you need to sometimes to use an authenticator to log into your email. So practically speaking, and yesterday the government stopped minting pennies, so everything now is digital. Even the kids won't have cash, paper cash soon. They're gonna have to use some device to tap. So I think whether we like it or not, smart technology is around, but we need to teach the children, the youth, how to use it. It's a double sword, a double-edged sword. So we can't isolate ourselves from modern technology, whether it's AI or social media or computers, whatever. But we can't also just give them the device uneducated. And I think one of the pitfalls a lot of parents fall into is they at a young age they use these devices as pacifiers.
Mm.
It's like, here for my 4-year-old, just watch this game or
Mm.
whatever. But that's very dangerous, to your point. Not only they could end up in a bad place or wrong place, but they become so consumed into it. It just takes the energy out of the person's mind. So I think an important aspect for many parents is to get educated on the new changes in society, whatever change it is. And it's challenging because as adults, we're already, burdened by our jobs, and many parents are working 2 jobs or more to just, especially with the current climate. But that is a necessity for today's parenting. If I were to put a checklist of things to do to be a successful parent today in this day and age, one of it would be to be savvy, not just with technology, but the changes in society in general. Because kind of what you mentioned earlier, we don't know everything. And part of it's because sometimes we're a little distant. And the young people see that as, okay, they're old school, I'm not listening to them. And there's some reality to that, but not to the extent that they should not listen. But if we at least appear educated, or we show them at a young age, they'll respect the process. I think many children at the age of 5 or 3 or 7 would be very inclined to listen to their parents if they can see the logic behind it. But if you just say, no, you're too young for this, then you're automatically creating a resistance. Yeah. So before we close, maybe the last point we could talk about just any general tips you would like to share with parents who in today's day and age find this very challenging to bring up young people who in their minds, they would love to see them better than themselves. Any closing remarks or thoughts?
I'm looking for ideas to myself. I am I'm also, I told you guys I was a teen parent. So I have a teenager now who I am constantly trying to lead in the right direction. And there are different influences around. But I would say that some of the things that I think helps us to stay, that brings us close together, is I keep him involved in things that I do, whether he likes it or not. Um, I keep him involved during the summer with my youth. He's one of my youth that comes along with me. So he's around people his age, and he might not always like that he has to be a part of the activities, but he learns from them. He socializes, and he also gets to experience what they're experiencing um, with me. I also I get him into communities that he needs to be in. I know that being a young black young man, he needs to be around uh, young black men who are positive, who can influence him in a positive way. So since he was younger, I found an organization, a group that can lead him in a positive direction that I insisted that he join. And he enjoys being around them. But finding him mentors that he can relate to. So whether he agrees with me or not, he knows that he can pick up the phone and call somebody that's positive, that can teach him what is right when he's not really feeling like doing what is right. I also, again, I would say pray for your children, pray with your children, and teach them the way of God. Whatever that means to you, your religion, um, there is one God that He's over everyone and He will look after our children. So it's very important that we pray for our children and that we pray with our children and that we uh, just teach them what's morally correct and hope that they will embrace it. Yeah, so
No, you close with the most important thing, which is our purpose in life, right? Without God, we have no purpose,
yes.
and absolutely, prayer is the main connection with our Creator, and I think that's an element that is missing from most of societies today. Is going back to the basics. Why are we here? And what are we expected to do? So I think that's a very important point to start with. That's the foundation of everything. And then, like you shared, being engaged with your children from a young age. There's no autopilot in parenting, especially. We have a very famous say by an old classical scholar, companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him. From 0 to 7, you're teaching them. From 7 to 14, you're engaged with them and playing with them, and beyond 14 they're your peer basically. So 7 to 14 they're your friend. For 14 and above they're an adult like you, and you have the first 7 years to build, to pave that way so that beyond 7 you can engage. Sometimes we forget that and we think, I'll deal with it later when they grow up, but it's really starts at the very early stages, when they still can't talk. That's when you read to them stories so they learn how to speak and how to speak properly and so forth. So starting with faith, purpose in life, engagement, and then again you brought again the point about identity, mixing with our own circles as well. Of course, that's everyone else, but it's important to be able to discover ourselves, and we can't discover ourselves if we are not with our groups. And there's nothing wrong being part of a group that you feel connected with, whether it's race, color, religion. That's important, and it's important to learn how to deal with the world around you as well. So, I think those are great elements for any parent to exercise. So, if you're out there watching us and you got little toddlers, now's the time to start working with them. Don't wait till they're 7 or 8 or third grade. You'll be surprised how fast kids grow and how fast they learn about society. You would have an 8-year-old and you think they don't know certain things, but guess what? They know way more than you probably do. So with that, I think we'll close. I want to thank you again, Gloria, for coming out here at Islamic Leadership Institute of America. Before we close, maybe we could very quickly share some resources. So askfoundations.inc.org is your website. Yes. Is there a phone number people can call?
Sure. You can reach me at 443-383-9971 for anything ask related.
That's
yeah,
great.
if you like application or information for SOAR, or just if you like a copy of our resource book that the youth worked on, I can certainly email you a copy as well.
That's awesome. And I'll also share the Youth Crisis Line, which is open for everyone across the country. The website is ycl.care, C-A-R-E. So ycl.care. And the number is 443-429-0095. Young people, parents, and teachers can text or call from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So it's a small grassroots effort, but it has saved many lives over the 7-8 years that it's been around. Once again, thank you, Gloria, and we're looking forward to more of these beautiful discussions. Thank you
so much, Ayman. Amen. And thank you for all that you do. Thank you for supporting our efforts, supporting our youth over the summer. Thank you for opening your space to us and just always being available and readily able to serve us, readily available to serve us. Thank you.
Our pleasure. It's a beautiful pleasure to be with you, working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.